All right, so we're going to record this practice of scientific notation today. I'm going to go ahead and write at the top what it is so that we can come back and use our notebook efficiently. Let's go ahead and look at an example of scientific notation, and then we will point out some things. Okay. The first thing is this number right here. What's true about this number? Must, oops, if I could spell, must be between 1 and 10. So it has to be between 1 and 10. And then what is true about the exponent? If it's positive, the number is what? Is bigger than 1. That looks like a 7. But it's a 1. If it's negative, smaller than 1. So it's a little teeny number. Okay. All right, so we are going to do some examples together, and then you'll be able to do some of the work on your own. So let's look at this first example. It says, express each of the following numbers in scientific notation. So we have 230. Earlier, we watched the video, we said that we had to find, they were just significant digits that were shown. So let's rewind in our minds. What digits are significant in 230? The 2, because it is a non-zero digit. What else? The 3, because it is a non-zero digit. Now shake your head. Is the 0 significant here? No, it is not. It is not in the decimal portion. It is just a place holding 0 that tells us it's 230. So we're only going to have the 2 and the 3 in our answer. All right, so we can go ahead and write that. And then if we have an imaginary decimal place right here, we need to move it so that our number is between 1 and 10. So 1, 2 times is what it's going to take to get that number between 1 and 10. So my decimal point has to go between the 2 and the 3. And then we just put times 10. And how many times did we move the decimal place? 2. So we know that the exponent is going to be positive because our original number that we started with was bigger than 1. All right, let's do a couple more. In our worksheet online, our next question is 5,601. So our significant digits rules, all non-zero digits are significant. What about that 0? Shake your head is that 0 significant or not? Yes, because it's in between, right? So we got to use all of our numbers. But that number is not between 1 and 10. So we're going to have to move our decimal point 1, 2, 3. So between the 5 and the 6. Is my exponent positive or negative here? Well, is this number that we started with, is it bigger than 1? Yeah, so it's going to be positive. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay. All right. All right, so we look at E. E is kind of a little different problem because it's 2 over 10. Can I move the decimal point in a fraction? No, I can't. So I have to change this into a decimal. So we know that the decimal of 2/10 is 0.2. Okay. So I know that only the 2 is significant. So I'm going to use that 2. I look at my rules again. It says must be between 1 and 10. So I have to move this decimal one spot over. I'll have 2 times 10. Is it -1 or +1? Look up here. If it's negative, the number is smaller than 1. The number we started with was smaller than 1, so we have to have -1. All right. All right. So in the worksheet that you have, you were supposed to finish to J. This next number 2 is doing exactly the same thing. It's just that you're given, it's kind of like a word problem. You're given some measurement, and you have to do that same process. So we're going to skip that for right now. And I would like you to come down to where we're going the opposite way. So we're going to skip down a little into the worksheet. This is the same thing that you've already done. So if you feel good about that, then you already know how to do it. Down here to the bottom of the worksheet. This is going the opposite way. So I want to do some example problems of that with you. I'm going to pull my notebook back over so that you can see my work. And in this case, we have 1.5 times 10 to the third. Okay, this is a +3. So is this a big number or a small number? It's a big number. So I'm going to move my decimal point 1, 2, 3 spaces. Now, in this, when I go to write my number, I can move that around the 5, but then I'm going to put place-holding zeros in these empty spaces. So I have the 5 and then 1, 2 empty spaces. Okay, and that's my number. Thumbs up if that makes sense. No thumbs? No thumbs anywhere? Okay. Number 2. Wait a second, that's the same thing, isn't it? There's a negative, that's right. Be really mindful of that because it really does make a big difference. Especially looking at these two numbers here. If I'm going to take my decimal place and move it, this is a little teeny number, so I have to move my decimal place to the left 3 times. So I'm going to actually start out 0. There's a placeholder and there's a placeholder. 1, 2 placeholders, 1, 5. Always take it back to money. If I owe you $1,500 and I give you less than a penny, because a penny would be right there, you're not going to be satisfied, are you? No. So this negative versus positive exponents is really important to pay attention to. All right, let's do one more example, and then I'll let you do some on your own. Okay. 3.75 times 10 to the -2. Is this a big number or a little number? It's a little number, so I'm going to move my decimal point 1, 2 spaces to make it a littler number. I have 1 place holding 0 there, so I'm going to have 0, 1 placeholder. Okay. All right.